Big dog's taking care of business for a while. Listening to another station I don't understand. Nobody does it like Thom Abraham.
Give us a call, Steve.
He's a northern-bred, southern-fed, slick-talking guy. Listeners in his posse are the junkyard dogs. The SEC from Tennessee to calling them hogs. They go up to Lexington to the Titan Tiger Land. Nobody does it like Thom Abraham.
Yes, I'm on here. Am I on? Did somebody respond?
Hey, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Throwback Thursday in the Doghouse. I am your host, Thom Abraham, and man, we're going old school. We're going old school with Throwback Thursday today. It was on this very date, June 26th, 1977, 48 years ago, that Elvis Presley played Market Square Arena in Indianapolis. 7 weeks later, he was dead at the age of 42. So the Indy show ended up being his last appearance ever. 48 years ago today. 48 years ago today, Elvis Presley made his last appearance since ever. He was 42. I remember it clear as day. I remember the day he died, not the day he did the show, but I remember the day he died as clear as day. I was a rising senior in high school. We were coming off the field between double sessions at Bishop Kearney High School in Rochester, New York. And our manager, a butterball by the name of John Ziemba, told us that Elvis was dead. He didn't say, like, Elvis left the building. Elvis left the planet. That would have been a good line by him, but John wasn't that kind of guy. I mean, we were stunned. We're walking up, clickety-clackety, clickety-clackety, because, back then, we had actual, we had real spikes. And you're saying, what do you mean, August 16th? Weren't you, like, in school for 2 weeks? No, it wasn't like that. It's not like that there. Up there, you don't go to school until after Labor Day. And you don't get out of school until the end of June. July and August are your months off, and then you go after Labor Day. So we would report to camp the first week of August and have like 4 weeks of camp before we started playing games in September. So it was August 16th. We had this thing called double sessions. I know you young guys don't know anything about that. Shit, triple sessions, because we would then lift later on. We had a lifting session or a skull session. Anyway, we're coming off the field. Clickety-clackety, 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 walking across the pavement, head for the locker room in between our two practices. And we were, like, stunned. Ziemba's running around telling everybody, Elvis is dead. Elvis is dead. We're like, how old was he? Well, 42. 42? Well, he was getting up there. That's what it felt like. I mean, to a 16-year-old. I was 16 because I was a year ahead in school. So I was 16 years old my senior year. And it's like 42. Well, he had a good run. Getting up there. Dude was 350 pounds when he died. 350, which is like 100 pounds more than me. He was about 170 in his heyday. When you think of Elvis Presley and the movies and in the 60s and in his heyday, he was naturally about 170 pounder. He was 350 when he died, and he hadn't taken a dump in like 4 months. That's a true story. It's a true story, all right? He hadn't taken a dump in like 4 months. I mean, officially, it was a heart issue that killed him, but really, he was constipated beyond belief, which was either that led to the heart issue or the heart issue led to the constipation. I don't know. All I know is he was jammed up pretty good. This according to AI. AI has been kind of a little sketch lately, but according to that, I was jammed up for 2 days, and I thought I was going to die. 2 days. I was like, what's going on here? My wife gave me some fiber this morning. That took care of that. She's like, here, take some of my fiber. Man, I feel good now. I feel like I'm down on my playing weight now. Today we're going to bump you with some of the best of Elvis. Were you alive then? Were you alive? It's 48 years ago. So do you remember any of this? Do you remember the day? I guess I'm talking to my old timers now. Look, I can't remember what I had for dinner last night, but I can remember John Giamba, the little butterball that was our manager. You know that kid. You always got that kid on the high school team. Can't play, isn't athletic, but he wants to hang around the football program, so he's the manager. He's that dude. He's probably the president of a bank or something. Or he's probably retired. Probably ended up being a multi-millionaire or something. Half the guys I played with are either in jail or they ended up. No, I don't even want to go down that path. We got some baseball and college football in the show today with some interesting thoughts about the relationship between daily fantasy sports or whatever, the DFS, daily fantasy sports, I guess is known as DFS. I'm not into the fantasy much. I do it with you guys. I do the Doghouse Fantasy League. I'll do the DFL, but I don't do daily fantasy and stuff like that. If I want action on a game, I'll just have action on a game. So I don't do it. But DFS has a kind of a shirt-tail relationship with sports betting. And so we'll get into that because there's just a couple of stories that are breaking regarding that. And we'll also get into some SEC coaching hot seat talk. Now, we welcome those of you that are watching on the X, the Facebook, the YouTube. You can get that feed by simply going to my X page, and that would be at Thom Abraham Show, and you can snag it there. You might be able to snag it at the X feed of your favorite radio station as well. We welcome those of you that are listening on the apps. It's a good job by you guys. And those of you listening in Nashville over the air on WNSR or in Winchester on WCDT or in Huntsville on our flagship station, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone, WZZN. 6 signals, one phone number. One phone number is good for everybody. 256-576-4977. That gets you in. 256-576-4977. You can text the show. Text window is alive and well. 732-9TA show. 732-982-7469. That works as well. Make sure that you are jumping on those big deal specials right now. Today is day 2 of the sale, so get them while they last. Find the link for zone deals at 977ESPN.com, and we're working on some deals for Big Nash deals as well, so stay tuned for that. But right now, we got zone deals for you, and they're going fast. It's a 2-day sale, a 3-day sale. Today is day 2. It ends tomorrow night at midnight. So get them while they last. Some of your favorite places are on there right now. Coming up on the show today, we'll talk some country hardball with Josh Caray of the Caray Broadcasting family. Harry Caray's grandson. He is the voice of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And this weekend, we hit the halfway point in the MLB season. That's right. Everyone in the league, everybody always thinks is halfway is the All-Star game. It's not. All-Star game's past halfway, well past halfway, really. The halfway point of the season, pretty much everybody in MLB will play their 81st game this weekend, that would mark the halfway point. So it's a good barometer. Some have played 80, 81 already. 79, the Bears have played 79 games. They'll play 81 tonight, or 80 tonight. They'll play their 80th game tonight as they try to take the series from the Mets in New York at Citi Field. It's a good barometer as to where we are at the halfway point. Do the current division winners win out? Who will jump in or out of the playoffs? What players will bounce up or down in the second half? And then at the top of the one, Derek Peterson of Saturday Down South will join us to talk some college football. On the table are the coaches in the SEC that are truly on the hot seat. I mean, really on the hot seat. And what do they got to do to cool that seat down? Also, California is looking to ban daily fantasy sports. Now, like Alabama, Sports betting is illegal in California, but they're also looking at banning the DFS. They think it's gambling. They think it's betting, DFS. But DFS is legal in Alabama. Now, in Tennessee, of course, it's legal because everything's legal. I mean, they have sports betting, you got the apps, you got everything in Tennessee. But in Alabama, there's no sports betting, but yet DFS is legal. So is it sports betting or not? And how can DFS be legal and you can't throw a shekel or two on a game? But you can throw a shekel or two on a guy. Look, I don't know a whole lot about it. I mean, do you guys who play it consider it gambling? I'm not 100% how it works. Sure how it works, to be honest with you. You need to educate me on the whole thing. I'm looking for some education when it comes to DFI. I don't really know. I mean, what do? You set a lineup, and then who are you betting? What are you doing? Are you betting against the house? Are you betting against other dudes? Can you have a league? How does the money work? Is it not betting? Is it not gambling? I mean, if you play regular fantasy football with your buddies, right? Let's say you're in a fantasy league and everybody puts up $100. So there's 8 guys in the league and everybody puts up $100, and whoever wins the league gets $500. And then who's second gets $200 and who's third gets $100. Are you gambling or not? Is it gambling? I mean, I don't know. I also need to catch up on a couple of things that are in my show file as well. I've got things that I save that I find interesting along the way as I'm doing show prep, and then I don't get to it. And then the next thing you know, it's 3, 4, 6 days old. But I still want to, get a little comment in on it. And so every once in a while, my show gets constipated, like Elvis. The show is a little bit constipated right now. Now, we're not 4 months backed up. I'm not going to sit here and talk to you about, hey, I can't believe the way the Super Bowl went. No, I'm not that far back. I got my show's about 3 days constipated. 4, maybe 5. 3 or 4 or 5 days constipated for the show. So the show took some fiber today as well. I need to empty the clip there because my summer vacation is coming up. My week off that I take every year, the 4th of July week, because that's my wedding anniversary. And my wife and I have, we go to a cabin in North Georgia, Blue Ridge, Georgia. So we're going to the cabin, be there for 3 or 4 days. And now there's a little extra twist to this deal. My daughter got married in a quiet ceremony. My daughter got married in Florida. And they're going to have a little soiree this weekend, or not this weekend, the following weekend after the 4th. And so I may just go right from Georgia to Florida. I may be extending this thing just a couple of days. Steve Moulton's looking at the thing right now, Adam Johnson's looking at the computer. What are you talking about? Joe Anthony's looking at his machine. Everybody's looking at their computers right now like, what are you talking about? I thought you're just off next week. Well, it might be a couple of more days, okay? My daughter got married. Over there in Mission Control. Playing the players that matter, the stacks of wax, answering the phone, keeping us on the air. Also wondering, what's he talking about? I thought he was just going to be gone next week.
Do you know who I am?
No, who is this?
Who is this guy?
Who in the blue hell are you?
I'm the producer of the show. If I didn't step up, you're nowhere. I put the thing together out of spit and polish.
I'm very important.
I think this is one of the traits of a really good producer. Keep the talent happy.
I don't like violence. I'm a businessman.
You want to boo me? Fine.
Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
You come at the Kings, you better not miss.
Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni.
Let me show for y'all. Got a damn good show.
I will not wear that guy.
Yo, how are we doing today?
Sup? I'm doing good.
Sup? Yeah, this might get extended in a couple of days. Just a couple of days.
You can extend it for as long as you want. I'm just hanging. I'm good.
It might. Well, no, because what'll happen, we know next week, everybody's kind of scattering. We get it. Next week, you guys are going to get network programming. I mean, just the way it is. You're going to get network programming. But then the following week, if it's Monday, Tuesday, then Joe, you'll have to do the Tom Abraham show those 2 days. Could happen that way. Could happen.
Oh no, we can just punt again. I'm good with that.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm good with
We
that.
we can punt a week, but I think we probably need to do something. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of the NBA draft was last night. I'm not going to talk about the NBA draft. Let me just say this this is all I got to say about the NBA draft. 24 of the 30 picks in the NBA draft last night were college kids. All right, American college kids. I like that. There were 3 Frenchies, a Chinaman, a Spaniard, and an Israeli pick. Sounds like a joke, Joe? It's like 3 Frenchies, a Chinaman, a Spaniard, and an Israeli walk into a bar.
I mean, it may not be a good joke in 2025, but yeah, I mean, I can see the avenue.
Well, yeah, they are what they are. France is a pretty strong program now. France has gotten pretty good at basketball. Remember, we had to beat them in the final of the Olympics. They've got a pretty good league over there. I don't know who the Chinese guy is. Of course, they had Yao Ming was the best Chinese player ever to play in the NBA. Was he was the kid that played for the Knicks, Jeremy Lin? Was he? I think he was an American kid. I think he was of Chinese descent. Was Jeremy Lin Chinese? Maybe he was Chinese, because the only Chinese player that I can think of is Yao Ming in NBA history.
He is Taiwanese.
Taiwanese. Don't get that confused with China. You don't want to go down that path. Spaniard and an Israeli. I wonder if we ever had an Israeli. I mean, a first-round pick, this Israeli kid. I don't know. The Dukies had 3 guys picked in the top 10 picks in the draft. And the Big Ten led the way with 8 selections in the first round, followed by the SEC with 5 selections. No Alabama or Auburn players. No Tennessee players. And the ACC had 4. 3 of them were those Duke kids that went in the first 10 picks. So there you go. That's
there have been 7 players from Israel in the NBA.
Really?
Well, now counting the draft last night, there are 7.
Do you know that? Did you recognize any of the names?
I haven't even looked at who was drafted.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't even looked at who's drafted.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't. No, I'm not this guy. I'm saying those other Israeli guys.
Oh,
did it list them? Did you like?
Yeah, no idea.
I didn't know so and so. Yeah,
I mean, the closest one would be Joe Alexander.
I know him.
But because he just played for the Bulls, and I'm a Bulls fan, so that would be the one that's the closest to it. Mike Holton played for the Bulls as well, so that'd be the 2 that I would probably recognize out of this list. But yeah, there's only been like 7.
Now, does your Bulls fandom go to the fact that when you were growing up, Michael Jordan was running the league?
Oh, 1,000%. Yeah, that's 1,000%. All MJ.
You got to have a team in every league. You know what I mean? You got to have a team in every league. Joe's a Predators fan, right, Joe? You're a Preds fan.
Yeah.
Okay. Preds fan, Titans / Chiefs fan, Vols / Auburn Tiger fan, Bulls fan. So he's got his teams. He's in good shape.
There have been, looking at it, there have been multiple Chinese basketball players in the NBA. Roughly 10 or so, 10 or 11.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Like actual Chinese guys.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't know they were that good at that. All right. That's a good job by them. All right. I'm going to get into with Josh Caray, Joe, a little bit. I mean, does it seem like we're at the halfway point already? I mean, it's like, boom, half the baseball season is over now.
This felt like playoff baseball for Braves fans for the last 2 weeks.
Well,
so I mean, the halfway point, I'm like, God, we still got to do this for 81 more games. Okay. Yeah.
Well, but the good news is you got 81 more games to make up the 6.5 games that you're out of the playoff right now.
Yeah, and you're only 9.5 out of the NL East now, because when it started a week ago, you were about 11 or 12 games back, so you've gained ground.
Do you really even think about the? Are you still thinking about the NL East? I
absolutely.
figured that you're just totally focused on.
No, because once you finish up tonight with the Mets, you go straight to Philadelphia, which is now the leader in the NL East. So you have an opportunity to gain ground right there as well. So, I mean, it's the whole part of this is going to be the division matchups. Yes, you got to play better against the Marlins and the Nationals and those teams, but you're now going head to head with the 2 teams that are at the top of the NL East, and you have the ability to chop into that lead. So absolutely.
The 2 Easts are the two Eastern divisions are the tightest divisions right now. The Yankees have a 1-game lead over the Rays, 3.5 over the Blue Jays. And in the NL East, Philadelphia has a half a game lead, 1-game lead in the loss column, half a game lead over the Mets. Now, people often say, why do you say that about the loss column? Because you can't make up losses, right? You can't get losses back. So like the Astros right now have a 5.5 game lead over Seattle, but they're 5 up in the loss column. So Seattle has a chance to, make up that half game. So that's why you always refer to the loss column. Where you at in the loss column. The Blue Jays are only 3 games behind the Yankees in the loss column. So they played 1 less game, and so that's how that, that's why that happens that way. Some of these divisions are getting kind of, I mean, Detroit, let's go ahead and give them the division. Nobody's running down Detroit in the AL Central. That's over. Nobody, I don't think, is running down Houston. Houston now has a 5.5 game lead in the AL West, and the Dodgers have a 5.5 game lead in the NL West. And remember how competitive that was. That division's still very competitive, where you got the top, all 4 teams, 4 out of the 5 teams, all have a winning record. The Giants and the Padres are now kind of tied. They're battling it out for the last wild card spot right now. So when you look at it looks like that's over. It looks like the Dodgers are over. The Cubbies have a 2.5 game lead right now over the Brewers. Would you go ahead and say Cubs win? Cubs win? Cubs win?
No, but especially with what we're now seeing from the Brewers and that starting pitching staff. They're, like what we saw.
Ready to crown them.
Yeah. Jacob Mazurowski outpitched Paul Skeens yesterday. Like that's a big deal. They had 43,000 fans in Milwaukee for an afternoon baseball game. Like Milwaukee's still very into this.
By the way, speaking of afternoon baseball, we are loaded with games today. They're in a rain delay in Minnesota, but they're already playing. Toronto and Cleveland are playing. Detroit and the A's are in the top of the second. Philadelphia and Houston are playing today, and at the top of the hour. Tampa Bay and Kansas City play at top of the hour. Ooh, Cubs and Cardinals. Wow. I was going to put the Tigers in the A's on. The A's are my late night team. I don't know if I'm staying with them, though, when they go to Las Vegas. I don't know how I feel about that. Dodgers are playing the Rockies at 2 o'clock and 2:45, Miami and San Francisco. Cubs and Cardinals, though, I think – Joe, I think out of these games, I think I put Cubs and Cardinals on for the second half of the show.
Yeah, right now I've got Guardians and Blue Jays on my screen right now. But when Cubs come on, it'll be Cubs Cardinals.
Yeah, Cubs Cardinals is. That's to me Cubs Cardinals is second to Yankees Red Sox as the best, rivalries in all of baseball. Like
Padres Dodgers is moving up that list.
Yeah,
especially after the last week or two.
That's not even the best out there. You got to go longer than that. It's Dodgers-Giants. Dodgers-Giants is a rivalry. Padres are Johnny come later.
With the way the Padres and the Dodgers are playing each other right now, that is the first rivalry since Yankees Red Sox in the early 2000s to have the emotion that you saw between Yankees Red Sox in the early 2000s.
Yeah,
those teams hate each other.
Yeah, but Dodgers. When you think rivalries, it's Cardinals and Cubs, it's Yankees, Red Sox, it's Dodgers and Giants.
Well, and I see Dodgers, right. Giants, but Dodgers, Padres are also all of 80 miles from each other. They're close even on the side on California. Like you can have your fans go to either one of those games. That's why it's becoming even more heated, especially with as much money as both teams are spending right now on payroll.
That's like saying Dodgers Angels, right? They're in the same thing, but nobody feels that way about them. Yankees Mets is a backseat to Yankees Red Sox still, even though they play now. They used to never play, but now that they play, is Yankees Mets? Those are good questions for Josh. You say Braves Mets, the Braves. Braves Mets is the biggest one there, but I don't think that's the big one for the Mets.
No, it's not because they have little brother syndrome. So they would always it'd be the Yankees on that. But I don't think
it's Mets. Yeah, you think the Mets have a bigger rivalry with the Yankees than they do with the Braves? They play the Braves 13 times every year.
Yeah, but they have little brother syndrome. So they're always trying to outdo the Yankees. I mean, that's their entire. I mean, look at the way they're spending money right now. They're trying to be the Yankees. Everything they do is trying to be the Yankees.
The Cardinals may be. I think the Cardinals are one of the surprises of the first half. I mean, they're only 3.5 out. I don't think anybody saw this coming with the Cardinals.
Oh no, they were one of the worst teams in baseball. Like last year or 2 years before that. I mean, they were a horrible baseball team.
I mean, you could almost say what's a bigger surprise: the Cardinals being 7 games over 500 and 3.5 games out of first, or the Braves being 5 games under 500 and 9.5 games out. I still think the Braves are. Yeah. I think the Braves are probably the all of baseball is probably the Braves being where they're at right now, 5 games under.
No, Braves would be the bigger surprise. But looking at the Cardinals rotation, you've added Sonny Gray, you got Miles Mikolas, like those good pitchers. Wilson Contreras is playing much better. You got a good dominant closer at the back end of the bullpen. They are a good team. I hate the Cardinals with a passion, so I don't like complimenting them on anything, but they do have some pieces that are good. Victor Scott's been playing much better. They can figure out Jordan Walker in his situation because he's one of their better prospects. He just can't stay healthy. They actually just put him on the IL a couple of hours ago.
It's a good break. When we come back, Josh Caray will join us. We'll talk some country hardball, halfway point of the season. We'll do that next, right here in the Thom Abraham Show. Thom Abraham here for my friend Mike Owen at Owen Home Appliance Center. You know it's hot outside, so cool down with an upright or chest freezer in stock at Owen Home Appliance Center. And don't let those beverages get hot. Get an under-counter ice machine with a built-in pump for just $12.99. Or how about a fridge out by the pool or in the garage for extra cold drinks? You can get a scratch and dent 18-cubic-foot refrigerator for just $3.49 while supplies last. Go to owenappliance.com to learn more. That's owenappliance.com.
Your customers deserve the best, and so do you. You invest in your customers with your heart, soul, and skill. Well, it's time to invest in yourself with the next generation Cat 255 compact track loader from Thompson Tractor. After all, those who give their best deserve the best, and this machine has it all. With features that include a more powerful engine, tri-axle truck loading capabilities, a spacious cab, and a smooth ride for all-day comfort. Best of all, now Thompson Tractor is making that investment even better with our workhorse special. Get 0% financing for 36 months on the purchase of a new Cat 255 compact track loader that comes with a 3-year warranty. You also get a 74-inch bucket and 1,000-hour filter kit. But hurry, this offer is only good through June 30th. Visit ThompsonTractor.com for details. Thompson Tractor, we're here for you.
You've seen those beautiful epoxy floors in a garage or carport area and have probably wondered, how can I get that done? Well, the answer is Lifetime Epoxy Floors. Lifetime Epoxy Floors is an A-plus rated business with the Better Business Bureau and has been family-owned for over 14 years. They do both residential and commercial applications and get most jobs done in a day. Lifetime Epoxy Floors' motto is, we love what we do, and it shows. Visit LifetimeEpoxyFloors.com to schedule a free estimate today and check them out on Facebook.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White, his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
The state's largest orthopedic group is growing to meet the needs of the patients in our community. The Orthopedic Center has long been the most trusted name in orthopedics in North Alabama. So as our area continues on the fast track, so does the need for premier orthopedic care anywhere and anytime you need it. TOC is proud to announce the opening of our new locations in Albertville and Hampton Cove, along with the grand opening of our newest office in Decatur. These clinics will offer the same high-quality orthopedic care you have come to associate with TOC, with the convenience of being closer to home. As a patient, your time is your most precious asset, and we recognize that at TOC. That's why we are also proud to announce the opening of our urgent ortho clinics. They handle those bumps and bruises that need prompt attention. These clinics are available to care for acute orthopedic injuries with no appointment necessary. With 38 physicians, 20 centers of excellence, and now more than a dozen locations to serve you, TOC will continue to be the name you turn to for the best orthopedic care at the right time. Visit our website at visittoc.com for more information. TOC, helping you live a better life.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Rocket City, for air that's cool and clean, contact Sensa Green Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Get HVAC smart with Professor Green and the expert team at sensagreen.com. Now offering up to $1,500 off any new Bryant system. Whatever it takes, Sensa Green has Huntsville covered. Remember, folks, with innovative, sensible green solutions, contact Sensa Green Heating, Cooling, and Insulation.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This segment of the show is brought to you by Owen Home Appliance Center. You know, it's kind of hot outside, so you might want to cool down with an upright or chest freezer, which are in stock at Owen Home Appliance Center right now. And don't let those beverages get hot. Get yourself an under-counter ice machine. You can get a built-in pump for just $12.99. Or maybe you need a fridge out by the pool or in the garage to keep those drinks cold. You can get a scratch and dent 18-cubic-foot refrigerator for just $349 while supplies last. Go to owenappliance.com to learn more.
We're talking baseball. Klazuski, Campanella talking baseball. The man and Bobby Fella, the Scooter, the Barber, and the Nuke. They knew them all from Boston to Dubuque, especially Willie, Mickey, and the Duke.
A lot of day baseball going on right now.
Well,
a lot of day baseball.
Was winning. And Aaron was
Welcome back, Tom Abraham Show. This is that window. It's that key 6-week window. Baseball kind of has it to itself. I know there's soccer going on. I get it, but come on. You're seeing the stories about soccer. You're seeing what's going on. Too many tournaments, too many different things. Nobody knows what's going on. And, it's baseball, all right? It's still our national pastime. And joining us to talk about it is Josh Caray of the Caray Broadcasting family and the voice of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. He's on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Josh, welcome back. How are you?
I'm good, Tom. We're down here in the capital city. Get ready for Rocket City and Montgomery this evening, and just enjoying talking to you, sir.
By the way, something different going on next week with the 4th of July. It's rare, in AA, you guys have these 6-game homestands, basically, and 6-game road trips, but you're splitting it, right? I mean, you got 3 games at home through the 3rd, I think, and then on the 4th, 5th, and 6th, something like that. You got a split series coming up where so both teams can kind of take advantage of the holiday.
Yeah, and that's a common thing in minor league baseball. It's kind of acknowledge that the 4th of July holiday is one of the biggest draws throughout baseball, not just minor league baseball, but majors as well. And so here at the minor league level, they want to make sure that everyone gets a chance to get a slice of that pie. I know most years we have hosted July 4th, but this year we're going to host July 3rd against Knoxville. We're going to have a huge fireworks show presented by SAIC and just have a good time. We'll wear our throwback red pinstripe uniforms that night. And then we'll just hit the bus right after the game, head on up to Knoxville, and flip it around and play the Smokies on Thursday. So, or on I guess that would be next Friday. So
yeah,
it'll be fun. And you know what, Tom? If nothing else, those 6-game series that's happening throughout minor league baseball. I hate them. I'd like to think that a week like next week can prove that we can go 3 on, 3 off with different teams. But that's just my thinking.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I was a little bit surprised that it was Knoxville. Not that in the Southern League, I mean, obviously the teams are, relatively close in areas, but I mean, you got to drive by Chattanooga to get to Knoxville. I mean, you would think that, if you're going to do a split series like that, why not be playing one of the closest teams? You got Montgomery, you got Birmingham, an hour to the south, hour and 20 minutes to the south. You got Chattanooga, an hour and 10 minutes or so to the north. And you got to drive all the way to Knoxville, which has got to be 3.5 hours anyway, if not 4 hours from Huntsville. That's kind of weird.
Well, and what's strange is we're going to do it right after the game. We're going to make that travel on up. So if we can do it for 1 week in July, why can't we do it throughout the entire season and split up the schedule and make it more like a major league schedule? I mean, at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to prep these guys for. And, I got to think the 6-game schedule or series really wears on fans as well, seeing the same team day after day. But, that's the way they do it right now. Hopefully one day it'll change.
4-game series for the Braves in Citi Field with the Mets. Mets finally broke through. What a crazy deal. I mean, this baseball is just baseball. I get that. But, I mean, the Braves, they sweep the Mets, and then they go and lose a series to the Marlins, the lowly Marlins. Then they go to New York, win the first 2 games there, drop that one last night, and then tonight a chance to win, 6 out of the first 7 games really against the Mets. And the Mets, the Braves have been the Mets' nemesis forever, it seems like.
Yeah, I think for the Mets, it's one of those deals where they are probably right now the better team on paper, the Mets, I mean. But the thing is, there's a psychological element to all of this where if you go in and you play a team and that team is used to beating you, there's a little part of you that says to yourself, well, what's going to happen now? Who's going to make a mistake? Who's going to hang a changeup? Who's going to strike out and go 0 for 4? Who's going to, kick the ground ball? I mean, I think for the Mets, it's just one of those deals where they lack a little bit of confidence playing the Braves, knowing what's happened in the past. It's disappointing if you're an Atlanta fan to not see them carry that over to their play against the Marlins, inability to sweep the Rockies, things like that. They've just been very inconsistent all year. But if you're in the Mets, I think it's just more of a mind game for them right now. And it's also the middle of the season, and they're just hitting a little valley right now that they need to come out of.
Yeah. By the way, for our friends listening in Nashville, you'll have Memphis, the Redbirds, in on for the 4th of July weekend, which will end on Thursday as well on the 3rd, and then you guys will hit the road as well. So if you're looking for a fireworks show in Nashville, then you can go on down there to the Memphis game on July 3rd as well for you guys there. For the Braves. Do you think the Braves view the Mets? We were just talking about rivalries. Would you say that the Braves and Mets is the biggest rivalry, if not for both those teams, at least for the Braves? Because now that you're playing everybody in these interleague games, you wonder for the Mets, do the Mets look at the Braves where they play 13 times, or do they look at the 6 games with the Yankees as their biggest rival?
So it kind of depends on who you're asking. If you're asking Mets players and Mets officials, it's probably the Braves because it's in your division and you know that the Braves are going to be there and you need to face them head on and you need to go toe to toe and you need to be sure you take care of business with them. If you were to ask fans and marketing officials and people like that, they would tell you it's the Yankees because they're in your own city and you've always been kind of their little brother. And so there's just this feeling that, when those 6 games come around, you better show up and you better take at least 3 a year and take 3 a year and hopefully get the job done. Here's I think a pretty good comparison. Obviously, we know that Auburn and Alabama, that's the biggest rivalry in the state. We understand that. But does that lessen the impact of the Tennessee-Alabama rivalry? Probably not, because even though they're in different divisions, it still holds a lot of clout to each of those fan bases. And that's kind of what that Mets-Yankees rivalry is. It might not mean a whole lot to the division and to the respective leagues they're in. It just means a lot to the city and those respective fan bases. And that's why that's a big deal.
I've always felt like Alabama-Tennessee's got more hate in it than Alabama-Auburn. Alabama-Auburn, it's like brother on brother, family on family, the house divided, all that kind of stuff. And it's very annoying for the losing side for the whole year. I mean, it's just miserable for the losing side. But it seems like with Alabama and Tennessee, it's more like a hate thing. You know what I mean? It's just like they really hate each other, even more than I think Alabama and Auburn.
Well, you would know better than me. I don't know where the hate would come from unless it's just simply about national titles or if Bear Bryant and Johnny
That
Majors
state
had a
line thing
back in the day. I don't know.
No, I think it's the state line thing. I think it's the whole thing that's Tennessee and that's Alabama. You know what I mean? I think the state thing is probably the biggest deal.
Gotcha. So sort of like Georgia, Florida in that way. I guess, right?
Exactly. I think when you cross that state line, it becomes a different world. Josh Caray with us here. So on the rivalry front, just to finish that thought, because I think of Yankees Red Sox as one of the great rivalries in all of sports, not just baseball. I think it's the greatest rivalry in baseball, but in all of sports. But for example, Joe was just talking about. I mean, there's a lot of angst right now going on between the Dodgers and the Padres. There's a lot of guys are getting hit and everything out. I mean, it's just down the highway 3 hours and all of that. It's not Dodgers and Angels. It might be for the Angels, because they got the little brother syndrome going on and they want to beat the big bad Dodgers. But I think the Dodgers, Dodgers Padres. But I still think big picture, if you were to look at out west, there's Dodgers and Giants, right? I mean, Giants, Dodgers, Giants is to me is third in all of baseball behind Yankees, Red Sox, and Cubs, Cardinals, which starts in about 20 minutes.
Yeah, and I think the big thing you mentioned there about Giants and Dodgers is the fact that transcends generations, right? I mean, the Padres-Dodgers rivalry is really a this generation only thing. But you go back to the New York days between the New York Giants and the Brooklyn Dodgers and what that meant to the people of that era, and then seeing it come across the West Coast and some of the great races they've had. I mean, I was 9 years old in 1991 when the Giants helped the Braves by defeating the Dodgers the last weekend of the series. And then 2 years later, it was the Giants who lost to the Dodgers at Chavez Ravine on the final day while the Braves won another division title. So the point being is that is a rivalry that has gone more than one generation. And because of that, it has much more of an impact on each of those fan bases. So out there, Padres, Dodgers, it's really just kind of a fad right now. If one of those teams begins to fade, that rivalry will fade as well. But in terms of just year to year, year round type of deal, it's Dodgers, Giants, and it's going to be that way for the foreseeable future. Yeah,
it'll be that way forever. I think it will be. And then Cubs Cardinals is an interesting one because the Cardinals have great history in terms of winning. The Cubs do not. The Cubs are like the lovers, and then the Cardinals are second only to the Yankees in terms of the most World Series. But your family probably has something to do with that, I would think. I mean, you had the fact that Grandpa Harry was, he was with the Cardinals all those years, and then he turns around, he ends up, with the Cubs, and the Cubs fans want to, they pretty much claim them as their own. And for most people, depending on age, most people, you say Harry Carey, you think Cubs. I mean, I don't think White Sox is. I don't think Cardinals. I know I'm 60 years old, and I'm 64 years old, and I think Harry Carey, I think Cubs. But the fact that he went from one to the other, of course, your brother right now working for the Cardinals, one of the surprise teams probably of this year. But your family's involved in that one. But I'm not sure what the real genesis was of why Cubs, Cardinals, two teams at the opposite end of the spectrum in terms of success.
Well, I mean, they were part of the original 8, right? So back in the day, there were 8 teams per league, and Cubs, Cardinals, those were not just the two original teams. Those were the two westernmost teams at one point. So those were the two teams that people from that point forward out west would tend to follow. And of course, you look at KMOX radio and Grandpa's reached on that. That reached to a lot of fans in the South as well. So that's helped create a big following, especially for the Cardinals. And because the Cubs were just right across the state, they had a natural rivalry for each other, just like Bama and Alabama, or Bama and Tennessee, rather. So it's the same type of development from all that. And it's not really a surprise that rivalry has lasted so long, because it's just expanded so many generations and so many decades that it carries down from generation to generation, and people take on with it.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Josh Caray with us here. Yeah, and the radio part, the aspect of that is huge. I mean, because you could listen to WGN radio all the way to, St. Louis to turn around the other way. Those were clear channel stations where, the whole country was listening, or that whole part of the Midwest was listening to those two stations. And and that played a big role in that deal. All right, we're at the halfway point this weekend. Everybody will play their 81st game if a couple of teams have already, but we're at that point. And so when we look right now, at the National League, specifically at the Braves, 9.5 games out from the Phillies. After tonight's game with the Mets, they have a series this weekend with the Phillies, so they have a chance to kind of chew into that. 6 games off in the wild card. If you're looking at them right now at the halfway point of the season, is the NL East even a thing anymore, or is just focus on that wild card?
Well, you focus on the wild card because that's the one that's within closer reach, right? So just focus. Right now, you got to figure out a way to keep your season alive past September, and the best way to do that is get into the wild card. So the focus needs to be on that. I don't think the Giants are going to stay as hot as they have been, even with the Rafael Devers trade. Same thing with the Cardinals. I like what the Cardinals have done. They've been a pleasant surprise, but I just think long term, as we get into August and early September, I don't know if they're quite going to be able to hang on. So those are really the 2 teams that you hone in on right now if you're Atlanta. And obviously, if the Mets continue to play the way they are, you're going to be able to catch up to them as well. So you got to feel okay if you're a Braves fan. The schedule is not all that daunting entering the All-Star break as well. Ronnie Acuna is playing out of his mind. Team overall is playing better. So I think right now you just focus on the wild card, get to there. And if you're within earshot of the Phillies by that point, go for broke, but you got to focus on just getting into a playoff position first.
All right. Cubbies, they're sitting there on top of the division right now by 2.5 games. Brewers are a little bit out of their minds right now. And then there's the Cardinals at just 3.5 games back. Do the Cubbies hang on? Are they going to win that division?
My gut says yes. I'm just not that. I like the Cubs. I'm not in love with them. And overall, I think the NL Central is pretty packed in right now. You got 4 teams that are playing above 500. I'll tell you who I really like in that division, who's getting no respect right now, is the Reds. And I only say that because their pitching is so good. I mean, they've got a lot of arms. Chase Burns, who was at Toyota Field earlier this season, just made his big league debut. He's going to be really, really, really good. And as long as you can pitch, you have a chance. But you look at the Brewers, you look at the Cardinals, I think they're okay, but I'm not in love with either team right now. I just don't think they've been consistent enough. But the Brewers have been there, and they've done that before. If there's anyone that's going to give the Cubs a hard time in the second half, it's going to be them. And the Cardinals, right now, they're hitting a lot of home runs. I just don't see them holding out over the long haul. But if I were a betting man right now, I'd say Cubs right now, just because I don't think, as good as the Brewers have been in the past, I just don't think they are as good as they have been in recent years.
Josh Caray with us here talking about second half of the season. The Dodgers are pulling away. That was what was expected. But there's the Padres and the Giants. And not only are they battling for second in the division, they're battling for right now the final wild card spot. There's a good chance they both make the playoff. They're 550 baseball. They'd be leading some of these other divisions or be right there. But of those two, who do you lean towards, Padres or Giants? Who gets in and who gets left home?
I'll tell you what, right now I'm going to go with the Giants, and it's not because of Rafael Devers either. I think the Giants have a really good rotation. Logan Webb and Robbie Ray have both been very, very good this season. That provides them a very good 1-2 punch. And with Devers now in there, their offense just got that much better. And so they've been a very impressive team. It wasn't that long ago they won 108 ball games. So I really like what they're doing out there. And unlike the Padres, I just think the starting pitching is a tad bit better right now for San Francisco. So I'll give them a slight edge. Although, of course, when we get to the trade deadline, the Padres may be able to pull off a couple of moves that changes that. But right now, as we talk, I like the Giants. I give them a slight edge over the Padres.
And how about in the American League? The Angels just a game and a half back right now at 500. Just a game and a half back in the wild card, a half a game behind the Guardians. Guards have a couple of games on them in terms of the loss column, but Seattle, Toronto, and Tampa Bay, there was a thought at one point in time where the Yankees would be the only team to come out of the AL East. Now, all of a sudden, Tampa Bay and Toronto are playing well. Red Sox hanging around. They're 2.5 back. I mean, the wild card race in the AL is going to be off the chain.
Yeah, I mean, if you had told me that the Rays would be only a game back at this part of the season, back during spring training, I would have said you're nuts, especially playing in a makeshift major league stadium this year. The fact they're only a game back just speaks to how good that organization really is on the field. That being said, it's going to be tough just because, like you mentioned, the AL East is so good right now. I really like the Blue Jays. They've got a really nice offense working for them. They don't hit a ton of home runs, but they know how to put the ball in play. So they've been a lot of fun to watch. Obviously, the Orioles have been a disappointment. The Red Sox, I just don't think are that good right now. So between, I would say, the Rays and the Blue Jays, I'd give the Blue Jays a slight edge right now, just because I don't think that the Rays are going to quite be able to hold off over the long haul. And then you mentioned the Angels. I think they're one of the better surprises in Major League Baseball this season. Obviously, seeing Christian Moore get called up was exciting for everyone here with the Trash Pandas, but they're kind of like the Reds. They're playing well, and they've been impressive this year. I still think they're another year or two away, but they're headed in the right direction.
Josh Caray has been our guest. Josh, I appreciate you as always, man.
All right, partner. Appreciate it. Have a good holiday.
You too, Josh Caray. All right, we get a break. We'll come back, set you up for hour number 2 next, right here on the Thom Abraham Show.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show with Joe Hunk on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Drivers who switch to Progressive have an annual savings of nearly $750. Progressive.com.
The Mets over the Braves 7-3 yesterday at Citi Field. Griffin Canning gets the ball today for the Mets. He's 7-3 with a 3.91 ERA. Mets $1.12 favorite against Grant Holmes, who's 4-6, a 3.71 earned run average. The Braves minus 108, 900 the total at Citi Field. Ryan Blaney 8-1 to win the Quaker State 400 Saturday night at Atlanta. Friday night Atlanta. Austin Hill, the plus 220 favorite to win the Xfinity Series race and the Truck Series race on Saturday at Lime Rock Park in Connecticut. Corey Heim is the plus 130 favorite. For more, go to VSIN.com. Mike Sennett, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey, Wes. Our company, Fleming Roofing and Restoration, specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs. I'm a fifth-generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough. We can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your shingles. We can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it, or we can replace it.
But you guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10 plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey, Wes, we show up.
At the Huntsville Sports Commission, we do sports. The Rocket City is your destination for world-class sports in North Alabama. The Huntsville Sports Commission brings elite tournaments, championships, and other exciting athletic events to our city. From youth leagues to national championships, we're driving tourism, boosting local business, and building a stronger, more active community. When you team up with us, we'll worry about the details so you don't have to. We do sports.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Well, bless my soul, what's wrong with me? I mean,
I got a little taste. Got a little taste. We'll save that one. Got a little taste today. 48 years ago today, the last show ever by Elvis Presley. So we'll have some of that in the second hour. Get that in. Coming up, Derek Peterson of Saturday Down South will join us. SEC coaching hot seats and this whole DFS thing. Why can we do the one, we can't do the other? I don't understand. Trying to get his take on it as well. Hour number 2 is next. Thom Abraham Show.
The Drive.
You know, both those guys have done a good job in what we've asked them to do, and both of them have developed nicely, and both of them have consistently made plays.
Wes and Steve.
Their decision-making, their judgment, their ability not to force things and take what the defense gives and distribute the ball with good decision-making down in, down out is, you know, probably the only thing that's going to be any different about them, because it's not physical ability or talent. So it's intangibles, leadership, decision-making, judgment, and all those types of things. And, you know, both guys have done a good job in that regard as well.
Listen to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton each weekday afternoon starting at 5. We are your home of ESPN Radio, 97.7 The Zone.
This segment of the show is brought to you by the Orthopedic Center, where thousands of area residents have gotten world-class care from the Valley's most trusted and experienced group of orthopedic surgeons and medical specialists. So if you have an orthopedic problem and you're considering professional care, TOC is the only logical choice. Whether you have a work-related injury or got sidelined playing a sport you love, you need the best care, the best physicians, the best facility to get you back in a game. And I think you're going to agree that the Orthopedic Center is right for you.
Hey there, everybody. Bob Baumhauer here, letting you know that we understand that times are tough and we truly believe value matters. So, by popular demand, we brought back our Inflation Bites menu featuring scratch-made meals that will make the whole family smile, and your wallet too. Menu items start at just $7.99, and any entree comes with a free beverage. Try our classic tailgate burger for just $8.99, or our hearty Bam Bam chicken platter for $9.99. Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Legendary fun, legendary food.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Sports Center. Good morning. I'm Doug Brown. At the NBA draft, Duke's Cooper Flagg, the number 1 overall pick by the Mavericks. The Suns keep making moves. They get 7-foot center Mark Williams from the Hornets and 7'2" draft pick Kaman Malawach from Duke to finish the Kevin Durant trade with the Rockets. The Nets use all 5 of their first-round picks. 4 of them are guards. Commissioner Adam Silver says the NBA is already studying Achilles injuries. A panel of experts was put together before Tyrese Halliburton's injury on Sunday. In all, there were 7 Achilles injuries this season. There were none the year before. Asia Wilson is the fastest WNBA player to reach 5,000 career points. She finishes with 22 in the Aces win over the Sun. Thom Abraham here for my friends at Your Home Window Company. When it comes to replacement windows, exterior doors, or new window screens, Your Home Window is the answer anywhere in Huntsville, Athens, Decatur, or Hartselle. Your Home Window windows and doors are made here in the USA and come with a lifetime warranty. When replacing those old windows or doors, Your Home Window has the solution for you. In-home estimates are always free and financing is available. Learn more at yourhomewindow.com and see clearly with Your Home Window. Visit yourhomewindow.com to make an appointment today.
Since 1983, Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate's Ann Adams has been your local go-to real estate expert in the area. As a buyer, you can trust Ann's in-depth knowledge of the local housing market to narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in, saving you time when shopping for a new home. When you're ready to sell, Ann's expert negotiation skills will ensure you get a fair price and hassle-free experience. needs. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or email annadamsrise@gmail.com.
You need to be more like a dog. Like what you guys are doing. You've got your fingertip on the pulse of your listeners. You guys know what they're talking about. Be a dog. God bless the show. You are the Messiah. We need more dogs. This is the best show on radio.
The big dog, Thom Abraham, is here with you. So settle in and get your bark on. Now live, here he is, the big dog, Thom Abraham.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
You know who I am?
I mean, that guy sounds like Elmer Peterson farting into Miles Davis' trumpet.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond? Get off my.
I have to drag my Yankee ass out of here. Welcome back, hour number 2 of the Thom Abraham Show. It's a Throwback Thursday in a doghouse. We're going to hit you with a little bit of Elvis music here in the second hour of the show because it was 48 years ago today that Elvis Presley played his last ever show, and it turned out to be at Market Square Arena in Indianapolis. Of course, he didn't know that he was going to die 6 weeks later, constipated. But I'm just saying, I thought today's the date of Elvis's last show. We'll give him a little show here on the Thom Abraham Show. So we'll have a little bit of that bump music coming up a little bit later on in this hour. We'll also get the phone lines going for you. But right now we are joined by Derek Peterson, a Saturday down south. He joins us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Derek, welcome in. How are you?
Well, it's hotter where I am in Illinois than it is where my parents are in Oklahoma. So I'm a little annoyed, but I'm good. How are you?
You're Illinois. Is that what you're saying? Basically, with the heat wave coming through. We listen. We're in Alabama and Tennessee. We don't want to hear about your little heat wave in Illinois. So we lived this for about 8 months out of the year.
You're right. I guess I should pick my audience a little better with that one.
Yeah, right. All right. So I told our audience that the DFS thing is kind of confusing. Daily fantasy sports, what California is now going to try and outlaw it. And then in Tennessee, it's wide open because they have legalized sports betting and they have, so you can do the DFS. In Alabama, there isn't legalized sports gambling, but DFS is legal. So just as a primer, daily fantasy sports, how it applies to college football and how you set up something like that, just for the great unwashed out there that are wondering, wait a minute, how does this whole thing even work? Explain what daily fantasy is vis-a-vis, college football, especially.
So it's an online game, basically, where you can go and you can wager money on player props for guys to go higher or lower on college football Saturdays. So you can get, like LSU's quarterback last season was above his passing number more often than not. He was an absolute darling on the DFS scene last season. It's just it's a game. You kind of have to be careful with the terminology that you use.
So who are you playing against? I mean, can you set up league? First of all, do you set up a team like you do a regular fantasy? Do you have a quarterback and a running back and things like that? And are you playing against the house or are you playing against your buddies? How does it work that way?
You can. There are multiple options. So Underdog is a DFS app. Underdog is a popular one. Another one is Sleeper is another one. So, for example, my brother set up our fantasy football league through the Sleeper app, and we can add some financial components to that. And so we have a dynasty fantasy football league on the NFL scene with that. I also used Sleeper last year for daily picks where you're going against the house. And you set up parlays like you normally would. So I'd usually do 5 and I'd hit 4 of them and then I'd miss the 5th one as most people do. And I would do that every week. So there are options, and there are, Prize Picks is a popular one, Underdog, and Sleeper are my two go-tos for DFS. Places like FanDuel and DraftKings offer player props, but those are regulated sports betting apps, and they offer other things that you can wager on, other futures and things like that. DFS is just players, and it's something that I know, like, NCAA President Charlie Baker is not too fond of. Wants to do away with player props for college athletes. He's got some certainly understandable reasons for why he wants to do away with them. But so California is targeting. My understanding of the California thing is that the DFS apps out there aren't regulated and they're not taxed. So to me, it just reads like a financial thing. There's a revenue stream that the government is not getting a part of and would like to get a part of, or wants to.
So they'll get over themselves as soon as they get a cut of the action, just like all the leagues that were against sports betting, and and as soon as they became partners, all of a sudden it's okay, and it's a whole nother deal. I didn't really think of it as being like player props, and I see why in the states that have, and that's I think 39, 40, something like that, states now that have legalized sports betting, and we're in one of each. We're in Tennessee and we're in Alabama, and in Tennessee they've got it, Alabama they don't. And so there's a lot of people that'll drive over the border into Mississippi or from Alabama into Tennessee, place their bet, and go back across the border, especially in the Huntsville market, which is so close to the border. But it sure feels like that DFS is if it's not a brother, to sports gambling, it's a cousin. You know what I mean? It's kin. For sure. It feels that way because there's money involved, and you're making picks involved, and it's really confusing in a place like Alabama where they won't pass the sports betting initiative, but they let you do this. And if I can make a team and pay money to one of these places and win cash prizes, how is it not basically betting? How am I not betting on Garrett Nussmeier to throw for more than 310 yards? I mean, that's exactly what I'm doing, isn't it?
It's all about the terminology, my man. It's an alternative for places and for states that do not have legalized sports betting. They've kind of successfully branded themselves as a nice alternative for people to do sort of the same thing, but you just can't call it the same thing. So like they don't. There's a lot of like terminology things that like in writing for me and what I do, like there are certain things that I can write and certain things that I can't write in terms of how we refer to their picks and their options and things like that in their apps. Right.
Certain buzzwords that would cut you down, I would imagine.
Yes,
Derek Peterson with us here. All right. So we get off the DFS question and on to the hot seat question as far as the SEC goes. And I want to talk about some guys in particular and get your take on it. And let's start with the guy over at Auburn in Hugh Freeze, who, somebody kind of snarkily, is that word? I don't know if that's snarky, made a snarky comment on X the other day and said, did Hugh Freeze get out of recruiting? That he's just going to stop because they've lost, several players here recently, only have 5 players right now on a commitment, and they're at the bottom of the heap in the SEC, which is not where you want to be when you're heading into your 3rd season. How hot is the seat for Hugh Freeze, in your opinion, at year 3? And they're already paying like 6 coaches. And what do you think he has to do to hang on to his gig?
Yeah, I mean, the financial situation, the financial aspect of it, like, I don't know if you're going to ask me about Mark Stoops. I don't know if you're going to ask me about Brent Venables. Like everybody,
we'll get there
on the hot seat. Like the financial aspect is certainly its own thing. Like Hugh Freeze is very much on the hot seat going into 25. I don't think, I wrote about him. I don't think another 6 and 7 season would satisfy people. If you're playing in like a meaningless bowl game in the middle of the day when, people are preparing for Christmas, and then you get your doors blown off by Georgia and Alabama. Like, are you the head coach in 2026? I don't think so. And he's done some interviews this offseason where he has said, and correctly so, that they have had to do quite a bit of roster building and foundation building because of what he inherited. He's brought in back-to-back really good recruiting classes, and he has told people this offseason that he thinks they need one more class. I would disagree with that. I mean, one more in the sense of like to compete for the SEC title. Yeah, absolutely. You need to keep building. But he should be able to win. They should be able to have a winning record this season with the talent that they have. They have, we'll see what Jackson Arnold is. They have one of the best home field advantages in all of college football. They had a really good defense last year. The expectations that defense should be pretty good again. There are no more excuses for the pass game.
Yeah.
And I think the change at quarterback is going to be really, really interesting, because if you look throughout Hugh Freeze's head coaching career, his quarterbacks have been very, very loose with the football. Turnover worthy plays, which is the stat tracked by PFF. They have been a consistent issue with all of the quarterbacks that he has coached throughout his career. There was obviously an issue last year. Interceptions and turnovers were a big reason why they underperformed their win expectation. And normally, I wrote another thing earlier this offseason looking at teams that underperformed their win expectations. Normally the teams that, have the largest difference between actual wins and expected wins, those are your sort of breakthrough candidates for the next season. And Auburn is in that group, but it's going to depend on what kind of play they get from their quarterback. And they have switched from a guy in Peyton Thorne who would put the ball in danger to a guy in Jackson Arnold who just straight up doesn't look downfield. Had one of the lowest average depths of target. He didn't put the ball in danger, but he also just didn't try a lot of stuff. And so I'm curious how Freeze is going to marry what he wants to do with what Jackson Arnold is maybe like used to doing, or maybe what like his comfort level is, or what his fallback option is when things get crazy. I'm curious how that works. But, you just look around the rest of the roster, like they have some amazing wide receivers. They have a really good defense. They have the home field advantage, like I said. They have recruited well over the last couple cycles, and that has included transfer portal successes. There is no reason for them to be a 5-7 team or a 6-7 team again next season. And if they are, something has gone wrong, and Freeze is probably gone. Because the other thing too is, you can talk about the buyout is large and teams might not want to pay it. The rev share thing might cut into that potentially. The flip side is the last thing that an athletic department can afford right now is for a fan base to be apathetic about its football program. And for a couple of these teams, sure, maybe Hugh Freeze could win 6 games and get to a bowl game, and maybe he could say, hey, we made a bowl game. That's progress. If the fans don't care, you have to be driving revenue. You have to be driving more revenue now, because you have to fill out this extra branch now that athletic departments have from an expense standpoint.
Yeah, the fans have to pay the players. Basically, the fans have to pay the players. That's what they're asking for the most part. And they're like, okay, if you're going to pay for the players. Yeah, exactly.
Yep. So I think Freeze is very much on the hot seat. I think he can win 7 games. I think they could be competitive against some of the top teams in the league. Competing for an SEC title this year? No, probably not. I won't go that far. I know some of the preseason models are kind of, I think S&P Plus has them in the top 20. They'll be competitive. It would surprise me if they competed for an SEC title, but I don't think he has to do that to save his job.
Yeah. So, my take has been 7-5, he gets to come back. All right. Because they're building. 8-4, they roll Toomer's corners. And 9-3, they throw him a parade. And there are some people that say, hey, they could, it takes 10 to, it appears that it'll take 10 to get into the playoff. But some people think if Jackson Arnold's out of his mind with those wide receivers and that defense, that they could win 10 and they could lose to, say, Georgia and Alabama. But if they could go to Texas A&M and win that game and go to Oklahoma and win that game, and by the way, go to Baylor and win that game, right off the bat, that's gonna say a lot about where they're at. And I don't think you can sleep on Vanderbilt, to be honest with you. And they go to Nashville and play in that little stadium. Who knows what's liable to happen. It feels like they could be 9-3. It also feels like they could be 5-7 and looking for a new coach.
Yeah, there's a pretty wide range of outcomes with them. Just because, the top of the SEC is so good, and then there's a little bit of a gap, and then everybody else is just in this glob. They're all pretty close. They all could beat one another any given week.
Yeah. Derek Peterson with us here from Saturday Down South. You mentioned Mark Stoops. He's the dean of coaches in the SEC. He's in his 13th year now. They fell off the, everybody was singing his praises, probably missed an opportunity maybe to upgrade the job and go to someplace else, when he had a time or when he had an opportunity to do that. But last year they fall to 5-8, and you wonder whether or not how much stock he has left and what kind of a year it would take for Mark Stoops to stay at Kentucky or for them to say, okay, it's time to move on.
Yeah, I mean, again, the financial aspect of it is pretty important with him. According to the local newspapers there that have covered his contract, he'd be owed around $38 million if they moved in a different direction. And unlike if they decided to fire Calipari, they could have stretched that payment over several years. It's due within 60 days, according to the reports that I've read. That's going to make it difficult. But I also think, getting back to if you're Kentucky, football has to be a revenue driver for you. You can't just say, we're just going to care about basketball. You just can't. You can't do that. Football has to be a revenue driver for you, and so the fans have to care about the football program. And the sense that I get from way removed, granted, the sense that I get is that they're okay, Mark Stoops just doesn't really excite us anymore. Do we have skill position talent that excites us? Do we have a quarterback that really excites us? You're kind of banking on Zach Calzada being better than he has been in either of his last two trips into the SEC. I think for Stoops, he just has to show that they're going in the right direction. He has to provide some excitement. He is the winningest coach in school history. He's got a third of the bowl appearances. He's got 2 of the 4 10-win seasons in school history. He has been very good for the program, but this is very much a what have you done for me lately sport, and it's getting more and more that as the financial element gets more important. They have to hit on some of these transfers because he's sort of geared more toward we can't win head-to-head recruiting battles with the top teams in the conference, so we're going to have to plug with the transfer portal, kind of like Ole Miss. They obviously beat Ole Miss last year, but that you look at Vanderbilt and say, Vanderbilt beats Alabama. Don't write that loss, or don't write that win off. It's just Alabama, throwing a game away. That says something about Vanderbilt's program and the direction that Vanderbilt's program is heading in. I don't think the win over Ole Miss said the same thing about Kentucky. I question what the ceiling is for Kentucky. And I question, are you adapting with the times? But not only are you adapting with the times, are you capable of being successful in this new climate?
Right.
And, Vince Morrow leaving for Louisville might say that he just wants to work with Jeff Brom. It might say that he wanted to have agency over his career 6 months before it was taken away from him. So if you look at Kentucky, it's a situation where you're what excites me about this football program going forward? And so I think the most important thing for Mark Stoops next year, they have a very difficult schedule. The win total is 4.5 at most sports books. if they won 5 games, if they made a bowl game, if they just show that they're moving in the right direction, and he provides reasons for the fan base to be excited about their program going forward, like he could have a losing season maybe and still be the coach.
I think it's got to be 6. I think it's got to be 6. I mean, they got to. I think it would have to be 6.
You think so?
I think so. I think it would have to be 6. At least make a bowl game. You could be playing in Birmingham at the Birmingham Bowl, whatever, but just be somewhere. Derek Peterson won them. All right, let's do one more. This one is an enigma here. This is Marv Levy of college football. What are we going to do with Brian Kelly? I mean, they're loaded. They feel like they're loaded. He's won 10 wins in 2 of his first 3 years. Was 9-4 last year. I don't know if they missed the playoff at 9-3. I mean, look, 20 years ago, Nick Saban changed the expectations at LSU, and they won 3 championships. Since then. But before then, I mean, it just wasn't that way for years and years and years. It just, they were just a, middle of the road SEC team. If he goes 9-3, I mean, does he have to go 10-2? Does he have to make the playoff or do they turn a page at 9-3 and then go into a period of time like Tennessee did for a number of years, after Philip Fulmer? Be careful what you wish for, I guess, is what I'm wondering.
Yeah. LSU's different because Brian Kelly's different. I mean, like you don't hire Brian Kelly to go 9-3. And to be completely fair, Brian Kelly didn't go to LSU to go 9-3. He was very clear when he left Notre Dame that he wanted the LSU job and he wanted this opportunity because he wanted to contend for national championships. Well, now, several years into his LSU tenure, they haven't sniffed the national championship, and this program that he left just played for a national championship. So, like, for LSU, this is not just playoff or bust, in my opinion. This is like deep playoff run or bust. Like they went all in with the transfer portal. If Arch Manning doesn't come out after this season, if he goes back to Texas, like Garrett Nussmeier could be the number 1 pick in the 26 NFL draft. They have that kind of quarterback. They had that kind of quarterback, and they had elite NFL receivers right off the bat, and they weren't close to the playoffs. Talking about with Jaden Daniels, the year he won the Heisman Trophy. There have been repeated issues with LSU that have kept them from getting over the hump. And if they go out in week 1 and they lose to Clemson, which I kind of think they're going to do, and you have a head coach who his stated expectation, like the standard there is compete for national championships under this coach, and he has acknowledged that. And you're 0-4 in season openers? Like, it's not good. It's not good, man.
Yeah.
No. And LSU is such a program that, like, again, like there's no buyout too big anymore in college football. And their expectations based on what they spent, based on who their coach is, based on how aggressive they've been in the transfer portal and building this roster. Like their expectation is to compete for a national championship, not just to compete for 10 wins and sneak into the playoff and get a first round game maybe on the road or something like that. Like they shouldn't be playing in the first round, to be completely honest. They should have a bye. And there are a couple people that believe that, like my colleague at Saturday Down South, Connor O'Gara, he predicted LSU to be the number 1 overall seed in the college football playoff. I don't agree with that, but there are people that believe that this team has that kind of ceiling. And so, like, if they disappoint, if they go 9-3 and the door gets shut on the playoff to them, it's going to be very tough.
Yeah. Good point. Derek Peterson has been our guest. Derek, great job. Saturday Down South is where you find him, covering all kinds of things from the betting aspects of college football to what we just talked about there with the coaches' hot seats as well. And you can go on and on and on. And but it's a one of those typical fascinating off-season topics. Are we going to see you in Atlanta at all for SEC Media Days in a couple of weeks?
I don't know. I guess I should probably know based on how close it is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, you got to get your credential, man. I mean, I mean, talk to those boys over there. I know Connor will be there. He's always there. And it will be very busy there. But, you might need to check that out because it's going to be a hopping place at the College Football Hall of Fame for sure. All right, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
It's Derek Peterson. All right, we're going to get a break. When we come back, we'll open up the phone lines. You want to jump on board, 256-576-4977. It's 256-576-4977. Jump on board with us the rest of the way right here on the Thom Abraham Show.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show with Joe Hunk on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Drivers who switch to Progressive have an annual savings of nearly $750. Progressive.com.
The Mets over the Braves 7-3 yesterday at Citi Field. Griffin Canning gets the ball today for the Mets. He's 7-3 with a 3.91 ERA. Mets $1.12 favorite against Grant Holmes, who's 4-6, a 3.71 earned run average. The Braves minus 108, 9 under the total at Citi Field. Ryan Blaney 8-1 to win the Quaker State 400 Saturday night at Atlanta. Friday night Atlanta. Austin Hill, the plus 220 favorite to win the Xfinity Series race and the Truck Series race on Saturday at Lime Rock Park in Connecticut. Corey Heim is the plus 130 favorite. For more, go to VSIN.com. Mike Sennett, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Thom Abraham here for my friend Mike Owen at Owen Home Appliance Center. You know it's hot outside, so cool down with an upright or chest freezer in stock at Owen Home Appliance Center. And don't let those beverages get hot. Get an under-counter ice machine with a built-in pump for just $12.99. Or how about a fridge out by the pool or in the garage for extra cold drinks? You can get a scratch and dent 18-cubic-foot refrigerator for just $3.49 while supplies last. Go to OwenAppliance.com to learn more. That's OwenAppliance.com.
Eagle Masonry and Installation. It's right there in the name. Eagle is your one-stop shop for block, stone, or brickwork, monument signs, and outdoor kitchens and fireplaces. Eagle also offers the finest craftsmanship and insulation, including fiberglass or spray foam insulation, and of course, insulation removal. Philip Love and his team have years of experience, bringing the region the best in masonry and insulation services. For more information and a quote, visit insulatewitheagle.com or call 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Sure, Valley Equipment Rental takes care of the homeowner and his needs, but how about the pros out there? Well, Valley Equipment has the big stuff as well. The equipment you need to get any job done. I'm talking about the big track hoe excavators, from the 30,000-pound mid-size one to the big boy 50,000-pound units. Need a dozer on the job? Well, they've got them up to 105 horsepower, and that's a good-sized machine. Plus, Valley Equipment has more lifts than anyone around. Up to 80-foot booms that reach 56 feet with a 10,000-pound capacity. 2 locations, North and South Parkway. Check them out today.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
I'm here with Stan McDonald of Jacob Title. Stan, I've heard that every real estate closing at Jacob Title is a very big deal. Why is that?
Wes, I'm reminded of a very impactful statement that I heard from Coach Gene Stallings years ago when he talked about big games and little games. He said he didn't like that comparison. He says, because try losing one of those little games. And if you ever do, it ends up being the biggest game all year long. Well, it's the same thing with real estate closings. Every game, every closing is a very big deal at Jacob Title, because when it's your closing and your contract on the line, it's a very big deal. And we understand that at Jacob Title.
So it sounds like whether your client is a first-time residential buyer or a multi-million-dollar investor, they can expect your A game.
That's exactly right. As a matter of fact, when you bring your real estate closing to us at Jacob Title, we understand it's all about trust and confidence. And when Stan McDonald tells you that a chicken dips snuff, you can look under his wing for the box.
And like Beebs likes to say, there's no doubt about it.
John Abraham here from The Blitz. Look, I love a good party, so why not join me on June 27th at Bobcat of Huntsville as we celebrate their new location on Highway 20 in Madison, right beside Redstone Harley-Davidson. I recently got to check out their massive 13,000 square foot location, and I was amazed. Skid steers, excavators, mini backhoes, you name it. But don't just take my word for it. Come on down to Bobcat of Huntsville and enjoy the day from 10 to 3 p.m. Food, fun, and a whole lot of door prizes will be available. So don't miss out as the Blitz will be live on location June 27th. I'll see you there.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This segment of the Tom Abraham Show is brought to you by my friends at Valley Equipment Rental. You know, we've talked about what they can do for you, the homeowner, but, how about the contractors? Let me talk to those guys for a minute. They got some huge excavators over there. I'm talking about into 30 to 50,000 pound range. They've got the dozers up to 105 horsepower. That's a big dozer. And they got more lifts than anyone around, including the 80-foot booms that reach 56 feet with a 10,000 pound capacity. They've got 2 locations. Check them out. Valley Equipment Rental.
Feel my temperature rising.
Welcome back, Caray. Throwback Thursday in the doghouse. So glad that you are with us. Yeah, quick scoreboard update. Keep you posted on what's going on out there. The Detroit Tigers leading the Don't Call Us Oakland Athletics by a score of 3-0 in the bottom of the 5th. Toronto over Cleveland right now, 3-0 in the top of the 5th. They're in a rain delay in Minnesota, between Minnesota and Seattle. Bottom of the 2nd, no score between the Phillies and the Astros. Go Stros there. Not a Stros fan, just want to see the Phillies lose a game. And bottom of the 2nd, and no score between the Rays and the Royals are just underway. Well, I guess it's they're in between the first inning now between Chicago and St. Louis. That's a sports eye candy game. It really is a sports eye candy game. That's the one I got on now. Joe, did you put did you switch to St. Louis and the Cubs?
Yeah, I've got that one on now.
I'm a little bit behind apparently on my scoreboard, on my computer scoreboard. Ooh, nice catch. On a computer scoreboard, it has it end of 1st, but on the game itself, there was just a second out there. The guy in right field making a great catch for the Cardinals. But this is one of them sports eye candy games when you get a rivalry together, like Alabama and LSU in football. Oh, they call him out at first base? Oh, they doubled the guy off of first base, going back to first. All right. But, Yankees, Red Sox, Dodgers, and Giants, games like that. This one is, he didn't touch second. That's why he's out. This is a sports eye candy type game. Anytime the Cubs and the Cards get back together.
What inning are you in?
Bottom of the, I just went to the middle of the 1st. Oh, it's top 2nd now? I'm in the middle of the 1st. I just saw the Cubs guy. Wow. The delay is heavy.
Yeah, because I'm sitting here and I'm going, I'm in a commercial break, and it just now came out of the commercial, and you're talking about plays that are happening. I'm going, I don't know what you're watching right now.
What are you in top? Were you in top 2nd right now?
Top 2nd. Nolan Arenado just caught a line drive from Pete Crow Armstrong.
They just ended on the TV, on the app, on the MLB TV app. It's and it's on the TV in the studio. It's they're in the middle of the 1st inning, and the kid got doubled off. And you would think, how does this happen in Major League Baseball, right? The kid took off, looked like it was a shot deep into right field. And so the kid takes off from 1st. He rounds 2nd, right? And he's going towards 3rd. And then the guy makes a great catch on a ball out in right field. And so the guy cuts after he had rounded 2nd. He just cuts right around and goes right through the grass and goes back to 1st. And they double him off. He didn't go back across. You got to go back across the base. He didn't go back and touch second base. No, you can't do that. And they doubled him off. That's where I'm at in the game. But how does that happen in Major League? I mean, Little League kids know that, don't they?
You're supposed to. In fact, I mean, literally, my son's playing T-ball right now, and they emphasize base running all season long. Like, that was the main focus, was learning how to properly run the bases.
So I'm going to reset it on my app and see if it catches up. I may just be buffered, beyond buffering. All right, let me get LSU Lynch in here. LSU Lynch, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Hello. I can hear you wonderfully. How are you?
Well, look here. Number one, I love the Elvis. And Lord, look here, because like I'm 55, and I got to see him in '76 at the BBC.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah.
Was he 350 pounds then? Do you think?
He had the stomach on. I mean, we were close because look here, my mom. The BBC opened. What was it? '75, and I told you, my mom and my they went and they had to camp outside, and we had to bring them food. Tom.
Wow.
Yeah, when it came to Huntsville. I mean, but I can still remember the show. But look here, you're a Christian and everything. My best gospel song is How Great Thou Art.
Oh, it's fantastic. He did a great job with Hallelujah too. I mean, it's great. Now, do you remember then at your age, can you remember the day he died when you found out that he was dead? Because you probably felt like he was an old man. He's 42, so he was an old guy.
I've already told you that. It was August 16th, 1977.
Yes, it was.
It's like, I done told you, I done got stung by a jellyfish, and then 2 hours later, he was dead.
Yeah,
so, I remember exactly where I was at.
Mm-hmm. Was Mama upset when she found out that Elvis was dead? If she must have been an Elvis fan. Was she upset?
Look at it. We was at Esto Island, South Carolina, where we went for 2 weeks every year, and we still. Anyway, yeah, I got stung by the jellyfish. They got me through crying. You hear me?
Yeah.
We all took a shower. It was still, sun was still out. We were all sitting at the dinner table looking at a little old, 12-inch black and white TV back in that day.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we will.
Now, the only time let's say this way, the first time I remember seeing my mother cry, because I had never, my mom's a Sicilian and she's kind of hard, my mom. But the first time I ever saw her cry, I was 7 years old. I remember this vividly. We're in the garage sitting at a picnic table. I'm 7 years old. It's 1968. We've got the radio on, and it comes across the radio that Robert Kennedy Jr. has been killed. And when that came up, when it came off that Robert F. Kennedy was killed, had been assassinated. And remember, we had been in this run of, I don't remember the Kennedy assassination. I was 3. I just turned 3. But, they had assassinated him. And I forget which one went first. Was it Martin Luther King or RFK that got assassinated first, Joe? Check that out. Which one? I don't know which was which. But we were having, I grew up in an age in the 60s as a little kid where they killed people. You know what I mean? Where it happened. I mean, they tried, when I was 15, they tried to shoot President Ford and then Reagan. We haven't had, up until Trump, we really hadn't had attempts, on a president or candidate's life like that for years and years. But when I was a little kid, they were killing these people. I mean, it was crazy what was going on in the 60s. But my mom sat there crying at the and we weren't, I don't know that they were Democrats or whatever. Of course, the Democrat then is. But she was crying that Robert F. Kennedy had been assassinated. And that's the first time I ever remember seeing my mom shed a tear. It's crazy the stuff you remember.
So, I mean, well, you like I said, I was born 1970. So, and all that was still young going into the 70s and the 80s,
Yeah.
I mean, you can go long length in the 80s and 90s and stuff. So, anyway, but I wanted to tell the Wolverine, Dana, dear son, when you go to the beach, you go to the beach. You go cook your own food. The first place I have always gone is the seafood market the next day. Because there's no reason why. And look here, I've lost a couple of girlfriends and family. When it's 4:00 on the beach, I'm not leaving.
Yeah.
To go spend 3 hours and $300 just to go eat.
Well, it's the same thing. It's the same thing when we go to the mountain. So next week, Sunday after church, my wife and I will leave and we'll go to the cabin in the mountain. And the last thing we do before we go into the mountain is we hit the Walmart there in Dalton, Georgia. We'll hit the Walmart, and we will load up the cooler. And when we get to the mountain, that's it. We're not leaving. I mean, for the most part, we're not. One day, usually, we'll go into Blue Ridge. We might have lunch, something like that. But for the most part, we got our eggs, our bacon, egg, and cheese for breakfast, and our muffins. We got our meat. We're grilling every day. And the sides, we got our corn on the cob. We got everything. And we're cooking. We're not leaving that cabin. We don't come out of that cabin for 5 days.
Well, man, I mean, there's stuff that you want to see. You know, you go to the beach, the water changes. It don't matter. You know, in South Carolina, we was catching little hammerhead sharks and all that. After 4 o'clock, the water changed. I'm not leaving the beach to go to goddamn Jimmy Buffett. No, that's not happening. But I'm just saying, hey, thank you for taking my phone call. This is a good one. I'll probably give you a shout out tomorrow before you leave us.
Yeah.
But like I said, go LSU baseball, Alabama, because we're still winning.
Tomorrow we'll have we'll be being joined by Ken Cross, one of our college basketball experts. We're going to be joined by Ken Cross. We're going to talk about what a 76-team tournament looks like. All right. The word's going to come down here any minute. I think they're going to go to 76 teams in the tournament. And how does that work? Well, it's 12 more than 64. So it makes me feel like there's going to be a Final Four for each region of teams trying to get into that region. But are they playing into the 11 hole? Are they playing into the 12 hole? Are they playing into the 16 hole? I think it should be the 16 hole. I don't think anybody should have to play 2 extra games to be a 12 seed. I think, if anything, if you got to play 2 extra games, to me, that would be, okay, I'm in the first 4 of each of the 4 regions, and I'm playing for the right to go play the 1 seed and get my head handed to me. That's what I think it should be. And I don't know what we're going to do with our brackets. I mean, 64 is when brackets took off like crazy. 68, we just ignored the first 4. You know what I mean? We just blew that off. And I think the first year of that, we had an 11 seed go all the way to the Final Four. Brackets are critical to the college basketball tournament. Critical. We just blew it off. So we'll have Ken Cross tomorrow talking about that. And Jeff Fisher is going to join us tomorrow as well. He's the commissioner of Arena Football One, of course, the former head football coach of the Rams and the Titans and the Oilers. And he'll join us as well. Nashville Cats playing for the championship of Arena Football One in the inaugural season of that. And we'll just talk some football with Jeff Fisher. He's always good to talk football with. So that's what's coming up on the show tomorrow. A couple of things just to get it off my desk. I told you I was going to empty the clip. My show is constipated. I'm like Elvis at the end, constipated. The show, not me. Last week, we talked a little bit about the comments from Vandy quarterback Diego Pavia and the fact that he turned down more money to leave Vandy. Remember, there was a rumor out there that there was a $4 million offer for him to leave Vandy. And he decided to stay there, and he told Vandy told him, we can pay you the $4 million, but we also could use that money to shore up the roster. And he said, no, use that money on the roster. I'm staying here in Nashville. I don't know if you saw this comment. Joe, I don't know if you heard this comment from Diego Pavia, the Vanderbilt quarterback. He said, quote, you want, and the reason why he didn't leave, right? Because the money was coming from up north, the offer. He said, quote, you want to play with the best. You don't want to play with the Big Ten. You ignore those calls. Close quote. Guy's a gem. That guy's, we got some cocky quarterbacks in the SEC right now. Got some pretty cocky quarterbacks in the SEC. It's like, I don't want to play with those. I want to play with the best. I don't want to play in the Big Ten. I ain't part of that. And then there was this story that came across my desk. I don't know if there's any truth to this or not. Did UT transfer quarterback Joey Aguilar, did he really turn down a $4 million offer from Georgia after he committed to Tennessee and the $2.4 million that the Vols are giving him. Remember, he had like a $1.5 million deal with UCLA. And then after Nico went to UCLA, they said, the Vols said, we'll give you 2.4. They gave him 2.4. Remember, this is before the money that comes out of the revenue share. Again, this is the NIL money, not the revenue share money, which the school's not supposed to have anything to do with. Because then it's pay for play. So it's not supposed to have anything to do with it. Anyway, Aguilar commits to Tennessee, and he's been in the program there and so on. And there's a story out there that says that the Dogs offered him $4 million to transfer from Tennessee to Georgia. This is how crazy this is. This kid transferred to UCLA, to Tennessee, and the Dogs wanted him to transfer to Georgia. And they offered him $4 million. And he turned it down out of loyalty to Tennessee because they gave him the $2.4 million. Now, you mean to tell me that the Dogs like this Joey Aguilar, the quarterback from Appalachia State, better than Gunnar Stockton? I mean, UT fan, if I told you right now you could have Gunnar Stockton, would you not take him over Joey Aguilar? Who is this guy? Maybe he's pretty good. Maybe he's pretty good. I mean, I would think that UT would take Stockton in a heartbeat over Aguilar. Maybe not. All right, so Joe, I exited the app, completely exited the app, and then I went back into the app and loaded it up, and I'll tell you where I am right now, okay? Top second, 1 out.
Of yesterday's game.
How far behind am I? I'm top second, 1 out, no score.
I'm just letting you know I'm in a commercial break.
Between what and what?
It's going into the top of the third.
Okay. So I'm literally 1 full inning behind. Dansby Swanson is up. I love Dansby Swanson.
Oh, yeah, you're definitely way behind because that 1 out that you're talking about was a line drive by PCA.
I love Dansby. I covered him when he was in college at Vandy, and I hated when he left the Braves. I mean, I understood it, but I hated it. Yeah, he just flew out to oh, no, he didn't. Oh, yes, he did. He flew out to center field. All right, we'll get a break. We'll come back. Got a little bit more to get to here. You want to jump on board, you can do it. 256-576-4977. Back with more right after this.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show with Joe Hunk on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You've seen those beautiful epoxy floors in a garage or carport area and have probably wondered, how can I get that done? Well, the answer is Lifetime Epoxy Floors. Lifetime Epoxy Floors is an A-plus rated business with the Better Business Bureau and has been family-owned for over 14 years. They do both residential and commercial applications and get most jobs done in a day. Lifetime Epoxy Floors' motto is, we love what we do, and it shows. Visit LifetimeEpoxyFloors.com to schedule a free estimate today and check them out on Facebook.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
I'm here with Stan McDonald of Jacob Title. Stan, I've heard that every real estate closing at Jacob Title is a very big deal. Why is that?
Wes, I'm reminded of a very impactful statement that I heard from Coach Gene Stallings years ago when he talked about big games and little games. He said he didn't like that comparison. He says, because try losing one of those little games. And if you ever do, it ends up being the biggest game all year long. Well, it's the same thing with real estate closings. Every game, every closing is a very big deal at Jacob Title, because when it's your closing and your contract on the line, it's a very big deal. And we understand that at Jacob Title.
So it sounds like whether your client is a first-time residential buyer or a multi-million-dollar investor, they can expect your A game.
That's exactly right. As a matter of fact, when you bring your real estate closing to us at Jacob Title, we understand it's all about trust and confidence. And when Stan McDonald tells you that a chicken dips snuff, you can look under his wing for the box.
And like Beams likes to say, there's no doubt about it.
Our customers trust us not only to find the right hardware, but to advise them on the technology that makes them more efficient.
My Next Level team researches and discovers real solutions. Check-in software, HR, digital signature, and workflow software. It saves you money immediately. We hold your hand and stay with you through the transition.
We're taking our customers to the next level in business process automation.
There's a lot of talk these days about who's the biggest. I'm attorney Gary Lackey. Bigger doesn't equal better.
I'm attorney Jennifer Lackey. We know we're not the biggest. We don't want to be.
I'm attorney Justin Lackey. We're big enough to handle your case and get you the help you need,
but small enough to welcome you. Where you're never just a number, you're part of our family.
It's a Lackey Law Firm. 1-800-4-RIGHTS.
Your representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
All good things must come to an end. That holds true for employee pricing too. Hey folks, it's Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford. The last day for employee pricing is going to be July 7th. Up until then, you can buy the new Ford you want and pay what we pay. We've got nearly 150 F-150s to choose from with generous finance rates and the best deals of the year on America's best-selling truck for 48 years in a row. Had your eye on a Bronco Sport? It's employee priced, and we've got over 60 to choose from. Full-size Bronco, we've got over 40. New shipments of Explorer, Expedition, and Escape have just hit the ground too. Again, all things must come to an end, and the last day for employee pricing is July 7th. Time to hit it and get it. Employee pricing can save you up to thousands off MSRP. With over 600 Fords to choose from, there's a good chance you'll find exactly what you need. Woody Anderson Ford. It's important to see us before July 7th.
The company is Eagle Masonry and Insulation. But did you know they're also Eagle Landscaping and Dirt Work? Eagle can take care of all your landscaping needs, including irrigation, sod work, and planting, both plants and trees. On the dirt work side, Eagle can grade and build your pads, haul dirt in or out, and even do erosion control. Philip Love and his team can do it all for you. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
You've seen those beautiful epoxy floors in a garage or carport area and have probably wondered, how can I get that done? Well, the answer is Lifetime Epoxy Floors. Lifetime Epoxy Floors is an A-plus rated business with the Better Business Bureau and has been family-owned for over 14 years. They do both residential and commercial applications and get most jobs done in a day. Lifetime Epoxy Floors' motto is, we love what we do, and it shows. Visit LifetimeEpoxyFloors.com to schedule a free estimate today and check them out on Facebook.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This segment of the show is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford's award-winning service department for the routine checkups to keep your Ford or other brand in working order. But they can also take care of bigger problems as well because they got expert service technicians down there, and they're going to quickly diagnose your problem and use state-of-the-art tools to get it resolved. They also have a great mobile service where they can come out to you. You need to check it all out. You need to make an appointment today. Do it at WoodyAndersonFord.com. That's WoodyAndersonFord.com.
All this aggravation and satisfaction in me.
Sounds like we're getting ready to play Beat the Big Dog. I use this for Beat the Big Dog, right? Welcome back, Thom Abraham Show. Cubs hit a home run, Joe. Top of the second.
I'll just wait till you get to where I'm at.
Oh, no. I have two son-in-laws that are huge Cubs fans. So I know that I should have some sort of, I should probably, on behalf of them, maybe pull a little bit, for the Cubs. I'm not. And I've never been to Wrigley. So maybe if I had ever gone to Wrigley, that would be something a little bit different.
Yeah, that's your problem. That's the problem.
I've been to Busch Stadium, and Busch Stadium is really cool. And I love the history of the St. Louis Cardinals. When I was a kid, one of the first things I remembered as a little kid was Bob Gibson. I mean, he was just such a beast. And, so I've, always liked the Cardinals a little bit. I don't love the Cardinals. I'm just saying I always like the Cardinals a little bit. I got a topic. I'm going to throw this out there right now without a lot of time to develop it. We only got a couple of minutes left in the show. And this is going to, Joe's going to want to fight me on this. But I'm reading all these stories about what's going on with the new college football video game. And apparently they have all these new features that are in college football 26, including some sort of dynamic substitutions, Joe, which allows players to swap athletes in and out without having to pause the game. I thought you wanted it to be realistic. Don't they pause? Well, I guess they don't. The guys can go in and out of games.
Yeah, and that's the issue, because what happens is you got to pause and you got to move things around on your depth chart just to get them into the position, and you've got to do like so many more things. And so what this is doing
now
is
you just put them in and out.
Now what it is you literally can just hit like square and it's going to pop up. You go to the running back, you go left or right to the one you want. He comes in.
Then they got this: individual body parts of athletes can be damaged and strained during the action on the field, forcing players to make tough roster decisions and think strategically. Is this next game one where the best players can be rested to prepare them for facing the biggest rivals on their home turf, even the weather feeds it? I mean, they're really taking this serious, huh? I mean, you guys really take this stuff seriously.
Well, it's all about you want it to be as realistic as you possibly can, and with that, the individual body parts being injured, that was happening last year. So you couldn't run. Like if I was playing with Auburn, you couldn't have ran Jarquez Hunter 32 times in a row because his legs would get tired or he would get beat up and he would get injured and he'd come out of the game. So those were things that were in it last year. They've just kind of tweaked it a little bit to make it even more realistic.
College football 26 will add 10 additional arch types and rebalance abilities, emphasizing the importance of momentum. When a player really starts getting into the groove, they'll receive boosts to their stats and ability upgrades, including the powerful Heisman tier. My God. They put a lot of thought into this.
So if a player's having a day and you're going, man, okay, he just went into God mode. That's what happens is, he gets to another level, and next thing you know, his abilities are up. So the, jump catches that he wasn't able to make, like in the first quarter, if he's got himself into a rhythm, he'll be able to make them in the fourth quarter because he's been doing well for the rest of the game.
Yeah, but he's exhausted. How can he jump in the fourth quarter if he couldn't jump in the first quarter?
I mean, because again, it doesn't mean that like his body is tired. It just means, he may have had a drop or something like that where in the fourth quarter, because he's gotten into rhythm, he's caught 6 or 7 in a row, that now his catching ability goes up because he's in the zone.
College football 26 features over 2,800 new plays and over 45 new formations in the available playbooks, delivering a great many more options for play. We don't need options. We need execution. I need 6 running plays, okay? 6 running plays that I can run to each side. Now that's 12. And I can run 3 different formations. And now that's 36. That's all I need. 36 plays that we're going to run perfectly. 6 running plays that we run to each side and we execute perfectly. We don't need 2,800 plays.
Yeah, you're getting blown out.
Yeah, I got a commentary on this whole thing tomorrow. You have to wait for that on Football Friday. Until then, for Joe, I'm Tom. Have a great day, everybody.
This is Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Doug Brown. At the NBA draft, Duke's Cooper Flagg, the number 1 overall pick by the Mavericks. The Suns keep making moves. They get 7-foot center Mark Williams from the Hornets and 7'2" draft pick Kaman Malawach from Duke to finish the Kevin Durant trade with the Rockets. The Nets use all 5 of their first-round picks. 4 of them are guards. Commissioner Adam Silver says the NBA is already studying Achilles injuries. A panel of experts was put together before Tyrese Halliburton's injury on Sunday. In all, there were 7 Achilles injuries this season. There were none the year before. Asia Wilson is the fastest WNBA player to reach 5,000 career points. She finishes with 22 in the Aces win over the Sun.
Now streaming on Disney Plus.
Riri, this is serious. This hour does not come without risk.
Might be a hero in there after all.
Marvel Television's Iron.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
and dogs are counting down, about to put the anchor down. Hotty toddy, who's it gonna be? Bills and swamp, the ag is wrong. There's nothing like the SEC. The weekend's full of surprises. From Williams Bryce to Death Valley on the Five Bomb Show.